Imagine doing everything, like completely perfectly by the book. You see a woman you're attracted to, you approach confidently, you strike up a conversation, and you try to set up the date.
Right.
You pick out a great spot, maybe a high-end cocktail lounge or some really nice dinner place. You might even be the kind of guy who goes all out and offers to, fly a girl out for a weekend if there's a long-distance connection going on.
Oh, yeah. You see that a lot now.
Yeah, and you are following the exact script that society, romantic comedies, and even women themselves have, like, publicly handed to you. And yet the entire interaction still completely blows up in your face.
It always does.
You get left on read, you find yourself permanently banished to the friend zone. Or, incredibly, you are labeled as being too much or too intense. There's this massive dating mistake that almost every single guy makes without even noticing it. And it is entirely tied to one counterintuitive reality, which is that chasing women in the modern dating landscape is a guaranteed way to lose them.
It is a staggering disconnect. I mean, truly, we are looking at a dating market where the gap between what people explicitly state they want and how they actually viscerally react in the moment it's never been wider.
Never.
Guys are constantly handed this map for how to navigate relationships, but if you actually follow that map step by step today, it leads you straight off a cliff. The old rules of engagement simply do not apply anymore, and the guys who refuse to adapt are the ones getting emotionally and, well, financially drained.
So if you are listening to this right now and you ever felt like the goalposts of attraction just keep moving on you, if you have ever been called needy for doing the exact thing you were told is romantic, or if you were just completely burned out by the sheer financial and emotional cost of trying to put yourself out there, well, this conversation is going to decode exactly why that keeps happening to you.
Exactly.
We are going to unpack the underlying architecture of modern dating dynamics. And more importantly, we are going to look at how you can completely flip this dynamic to your advantage.
Shifting from total confusion to absolute clarity is the goal here. Because once you understand the actual mechanics of what is happening behind the scenes, the psychology, the economics, the evolutionary drivers, you just cannot unsee it.
You really can't.
You stop taking ghosting or flaking personally, and you start operating from a grounded place of power. You start seeing the matrix of modern attraction for what it actually is, rather than, what people pretend it is on social media.
Right. So to really understand why the traditional concept of the chase is completely dead, we have to start by examining the baseline expectations that guys are walking into on a daily basis.
Yeah, let's start there.
I want to look at what I call the financial fairy tale. We are observing a very specific, prevalent trend right now, where a significant number of women in their 20s are actively resetting their dating app preferences to much, much older men.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about age filters being cranked up to 45, 50, even 60 plus.
And look, this trend isn't driven by a sudden widespread appreciation for silver foxes or, a deep desire to date men who remember the invention of the internet.
Right.
The motivation here is almost entirely economic. The cost of living has skyrocketed. Lifestyle inflation driven by Instagram and TikTok is at an all-time high, and the traditional milestones of adulthood just feel completely out of reach for many. So, the dating market basically becomes a secondary economy.
They are doing it because men their own age, like guys in their 20s and early 30s who are still building their careers and their wealth, they are not mindlessly funding the luxurious lifestyle these women feel they deserve.
No, they can't afford to.
There's this incredibly specific mentality taking root. You hear it openly discussed on social media panels all the time. You have women explicitly stating that they want a man who's literally, quote, sick at the thought of her spending her own money.
Wow.
They want a guy to look at them, see them as so precious and inherently valuable just for breathing, that he wants to completely spoil them unprompted. The overarching quote you hear constantly is, I'm a princess, I shouldn't have to pay for anything.
The sheer scale of that entitlement is what we need to break down, because it fundamentally misinterprets the dynamic of masculine provision. There is a massive psychological difference between a man inherently desiring to provide for a partner who has built a life with him versus a woman demanding instant financial submission from a total stranger on a first date.
Instant financial submission. That perfectly encapsulates what we are seeing. It's like walking up to a stranger and expecting a blank check just because you showed up.
Consider the traditional arc of a relationship, right? When a man has been with a woman for years and she has supported his vision, held him down during his failures, brought genuine peace to his household.
Added real value.
Exactly, actively contributed to their shared life, providing for her is a joy. It is a natural expression of his masculine energy. He wants to take care of her because she takes care of him in ways money cannot buy.
Right.
But the trend we are seeing now involves expecting the ultimate reward of a 10-year loyal marriage within the first 45 minutes of meeting for drinks. I mean, they are demanding the finish line before they've even laced up their running shoes.
I hear that, but aren't we fighting biology here to some degree?
What do you mean?
Well, men are traditionally wired to be providers. It's baked into our evolutionary history to want to gather resources and share them to demonstrate our value.
Right?
If a guy is genuinely into a girl, it seems almost instinctual that he'd want to step up, drop some cash, and take care of the situation just to impress her.
He does have an instinct to provide, sure, but that instinct was never meant to be deployed blindly. If we connect this to a broader framework, think about it like a high-level business partnership.
Oh, I love good business analogy. Let's hear it.
Imagine you start a company from scratch. You pour your blood, sweat, tears, and life savings into it. You build the capital, you establish the brand, you take all the risk.
Yeah.
Then it's time to hire a brand new employee to help expand. Are you going to hand that new hire 50% equity in your company on their very first day, simply because they showed up to the interview in a nice suit and had a pleasant smile?
Of course not. I mean, that would be corporate suicide. They would have to vest over a period of years.
Exactly.
They have to prove they can actually handle the workload, demonstrate loyalty, and show they won't just steal your client list the second they get a better offer.
Right, they have to demonstrate tangible value over time. But in the modern dating landscape, you have people walking into the initial interview demanding 50% equity, the company car, a corner office, and an unlimited expense account solely because they graced you with their physical presence.
Wow. Yeah.
And the real tragedy of this dynamic is that a significant portion of men actually buy into it.
They absolutely fall for it because they operate from a mindset of scarcity. They look around, they see other guys flashing cash on social media, and they think, well, buying into the princess fantasy is the only possible way I can compete.
It's a trap.
So let's look at the fallout. What actually happens to the guys who try to fund this lifestyle early on?
Well, it creates an incredibly toxic environment that breeds resentment on both sides of the table. It is the ultimate lose-lose scenario. Eventually, the honeymoon phase fades, the financial strain sets in, and the man wakes up.
He realizes what's happening.
He realizes he has been functioning as a human ATM, not a respected partner. He realizes that if the dinner stopped, if the gifts stopped, if the vacation stopped, her affection would evaporate by Tuesday.
Brutal.
And on the flip side, which is the part most guys simply cannot wrap their heads around, the woman actually loses respect for him.
Wait, she loses respect for him?
Yeah.
Even though he is giving her the exact financial fairy tale she actively demanded.
She loses respect for him, specifically because he gave her exactly what she demanded without requiring her to earn it. We have to look at behavioral psychology here. People in general respect strength, boundaries, and things they have to work for.
Right, human nature.
When a man just rolls over and buys a woman's attention, he is subconsciously proving to her that he does not believe he could earn her attention through his character, his charisma, his intellect, or his sheer masculine presence.
He had to use a bribe.
He used a bribe. And it is fundamentally impossible to maintain a burning, visceral, romantic attraction for a man you do not respect.
You cannot maintain attraction for a man you don't respect. I mean, that hits hard because I see it happen constantly.
All the time.
Let's walk through a scenario that plays out thousands of times every single weekend. A guy matches with a beautiful girl on an app. He really wants to impress her, so he throws out the standard coffee date idea.
Which is a mistake in his mind.
Right. He thinks coffee is cheap, coffee doesn't show I'm a provider. So he books a table at a high-end, trendy restaurant downtown.
Oh, the kind of place with mood lighting, valet parking, and a 3-week wait list.
Exactly the place. So it's the first date. He sits there in his nice shirt, and for 2 hours he listens to her talk about the drama in her friend group, maybe complain about her ex-boyfriend, while he just watches her order the Chilean sea base, an appetizer, and 3 $25 craft cocktails.
And he's just nodding along.
He barely gets a word in edgewise. The leather binder hits the table. The bill is $300. He happily hands over his premium credit card, thinking to himself, I absolutely nailed this. I showed her I have resources. I showed her I treat women like royalty.
Oh, man.
They step outside. They share a stiff hug on the sidewalk. She gets in her Uber. He goes home feeling on top of the world. And an hour later, his phone buzzes with a text.
Yeah, thanks for dinner.
Thank you so much for dinner. I had a great time, but I just didn't feel a romantic spark between us. Let's just be friends.
The classic $300 friend zone fee. It is a brutal tax on naivety.
It's a devastating blow to a guy's confidence. But it perfectly illustrates your point, right? Money does not buy genuine desire. You cannot negotiate burning, visceral attraction at the negotiation table with a credit card. It just doesn't work.
No, it fails every time.
So if guys realize the financial route is a trap, they usually pivot. They fall back on the old school legacy advice, the stuff our grandfathers and fathers told us. Don't try to buy her, just go up and talk to her. Be a man, take the initiative, shoot your shot.
Right, the traditional approach.
But here's where this entire ecosystem gets incredibly interesting. Because that traditional advice has morphed into a massive trap of its own.
It really has. We are operating in what I refer to as the approach paradox. It is one of the most frustrating elements of modern socialization for single men.
Let's dissect this approach paradox. Because if you spend like 5 minutes listening to women talk about dating online, you will hear a chorus of complaints about the lack of initiative from modern men. They say, I hate the apps, I want to delete Hinge. Guys need to just come up to us in real life again. Approach me at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, at the bookstore.
Yeah.
They say they want a guy to walk up with a confident, cute, movie-style opening line.
Yeah.
They're practically begging for men to approach them in the wild.
That is the publicly stated request, the aesthetic fantasy of the rom-com meet cute. But let's observe the actual reality of human behavior when that happens.
Okay, let's look at it.
When men take that advice to heart, muster up the courage, and approach a woman in real life, how does the interaction typically unfold? Unless the man executes the approach with absolute flawless James Bond-level perfection.
Which nobody does.
Right, and he happens to perfectly match her exact, hyper-specific physical criteria, he is instantly labeled as weird or creepy. Or, if he shows a fraction of a second of hesitation or nervousness, he's mocked for lacking confidence.
It is a completely unwinnable catch-22 for the average guy. It's like being told to jump into the deep end of the pool, but the very second your feet leave the diving board, they drain all the water.
That's exactly it.
You just end up face-planting on the concrete while everyone points and laughs.
It is a constantly moving target. And this paradox brings us right back to our core thesis, which is why chasing is dead. If a man chases, if he goes out of his way to cross the room, to lay his cards on the table, to utilize the cute little pickup line she claimed she desperately wanted, he is immediately perceived as a tryhard.
Because he's doing too much.
Exactly, because we have to analyze this from the perspective of female evolutionary psychology. If a man is truly high value, if he is highly attractive, successful, socially calibrated, and secure in his own skin, why is he working so intensely hard to impress a total stranger he just laid eyes on?
Let's slow down and really unpack that. You're saying that the very act of chasing, the act of putting in high effort up front, inherently signals low value to her subconscious.
It triggers an immediate evolutionary alarm bell. When a guy you find physically attractive starts chasing you aggressively, a woman's subconscious radar starts pinging. Her instinct tells her, wait, something feels off about this dynamic.
Like it's too good to be true.
Right. If he is genuinely a catch, he should have the attention of other women. He should be secure. He shouldn't be sweating me this hard, over-complimenting me, and making me the center of his universe after 3 minutes of conversation.
So by giving her the exact Hollywood movie moment she specifically asked for, he accidentally signals that he has a scarcity of options in his life.
Yes. People often have no idea what actually drives their own desires. They will provide you with a sterile laundry list of criteria like, he needs to be over 6 feet tall, make a certain income, have a specific haircut, wear this brand of clothing.
We've all seen the lists.
But you could take a man who checks every single one of those boxes in a spreadsheet, place him right in front of her at a bar, and if his behavioral energy is off, if he chases her, if he acts needy, if he leans in too far, if he agrees with everything she says, she will reject him instantly.
Wow.
She will throw the entire physical checklist out the window because his underlying needy energy repels her on a biological level.
That reality is just maddening to the average guy trying to navigate a Friday night. It feels completely illogical.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating.
So what does this all mean for the listener? I mean, if a guy is out at a social event and he knows that executing the traditional Hollywood chase makes him look like he lacks options, what is the actual play? How does he show interest and approach without triggering that weirdo alarm or coming off like a desperate tryhard.
This is where the pivot happens. Guys need to shift away from improvising bad pickup lines based on what they saw in a movie and move toward utilizing a reliable, grounded behavioral framework. You cannot wing it based on hope. You need an internal structure that allows you to demonstrate interest without ever demonstrating attachment.
Showing intent but remaining completely unbothered by the outcome. If someone wants a more structured roadmap to handle this without looking needy, that's actually something Stealth Attraction does well.
Yeah, that's a good resource.
Some men prefer learning through a structured program, and it gives guys a step-by-step framework instead of leaving them to guess in those high-pressure, high-anxiety moments. It takes the terrifying guesswork out of how to approach smoothly and transition into a real conversation without looking like you're trying too hard.
Having a framework like that is vital because it anchors your mindset. Consider the massive contrast between the traditional chase and a grounded approach. The traditional chase is bringing flowers on a first date, reciting poetry, over-complimenting her appearance, leaning into her physical space too quickly, and acting as if winning her over is the most important mission of your entire life.
Which reeks of lack of options.
It absolutely reeks of a lack of options.
It's the energy of a golden retriever begging for a treat at the dinner table. Like, it's sweet, but it's not exactly going to spark a burning fire of romantic tension.
A grounded, modern approach comes from a completely different paradigm. You are entirely unbothered. You approach because you are curious about who she is, not because you're already conquered by the way she looks.
Right, you're evaluating her.
Yes, you initiate the interaction, you throw the ball into her court to see what her energy is like. And if she is not reciprocating, or if she is acting entitled or aloof, you are fully willing and fully ready to simply walk away. You are not chasing, you are screening.
That's huge.
You are actively evaluating whether she is actually worthy of your limited time and attention.
That internal mindset shift changes everything. Moving from please like me, please validate me to let's find out if I even like you.
Exactly.
But because approaching in real life has become such a high-stakes, hyper-scrutinized minefield where a guy can be labeled a creep just for saying hello in the wrong tone of voice, a massive majority of men have simply retreated to the dating apps.
Which brings its own set of problems.
Right, it feels safer. There is a digital pane of glass between you and the sting of rejection. But even within the apps, the definition of what constitutes putting in effort has become completely divorced from reality.
The apps have spawned their own unique, incredibly complex ecosystem of dysfunction. And analyzing that ecosystem brings us to one of the most widely misunderstood dynamics in modern dating today, which is the texting treadmill.
Oh, the texting treadmill. Every single guy listening to this who has ever downloaded Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder knows exactly what this is.
They've all lived it.
Let's walk through the standard scenario. A guy and a girl match on an app. They have a decent initial banter. They talk back and forth for, let's say, a solid 2 weeks. Maybe she goes out of town for a work trip or a bachelorette party, but they keep the text thread alive.
Building rapport.
Yeah. She finally comes back into town and messages him, hey, I'd love to hear more about that story over drink sometime. Let me know if you're interested. She's practically drawing a map to a date.
It is the perfect conversational alley-oop.
Exactly the kind of signal guys wait for. But instead of immediately setting up a reservation at the local speakeasy for 8 p.m. on Thursday, the guy replies, oh, sounds fun. How about we exchange Instagrams or phone numbers first?
And then it falls apart.
And the woman absolutely loses her mind. She throws her hands up in the air, takes a screenshot of the chat, posts it online, and complains, I can't do all the heavy lifting. Men have zero initiative. If I'm going to do all the work, I might as well just date myself.
This specific interaction is a brilliant case study in crossed wires and misread intentions. The woman looks at his hesitation to book a table and assumes the guy is just fumbling the bag.
Right, she thinks he's clueless.
She assumes he lacks confidence, or he's incredibly timid, or he just fundamentally does not know how to lead an interaction. She is entirely missing the reality of what is actually occurring on his end. He's not fumbling at all. He is executing a very specific, highly deliberate strategy.
Let's name it the marination strategy.
The marination strategy. That guy, assuming he is a guy with options, has absolutely zero intention of taking her on a traditional dinner and drinks date right out of the gate.
Zero.
And why should he? As we established earlier, traditional dates have evolved into high-risk financial traps with terrible returns on investment. So men on the apps have naturally adapted to the environment.
It's an evolution.
It is. The new standard operating procedure is to just get the girl's number, move the conversation off the app to a more personal space, maybe get her on a quick FaceTime call to verify she actually looks like her curated photos, and build a baseline level of comfort.
And once that FaceTime vibe check happens, what's the pivot?
Once that baseline comfort is established, he bypasses the restaurant entirely. He's going to invite her straight over to his place to hang out.
Boom. He entirely skips the $150 tapas bar, the struggle for parking, the awkward interview-style conversation across a table.
Skips it all.
But consider this angle, and no, some guys listening might feel a twinge of guilt about this, is that really fair to the girl. She is operating under the assumption that they are building up to a real traditional date. She is planning her evening, picking out an outfit, doing her makeup, expecting a night out on the town. Is it manipulative for the guy to play along with the texting phase just to try and pull her straight to the couch?
It isn't a question of fairness. It is an economic and behavioral adaptation to the exact market conditions women themselves created.
Okay, expand on that.
The dating market became incredibly hostile, judgmental, and expensive for men. When expectations shifted toward demanding princess treatment for simply existing high-value guys, the guys who possess abundance and options looked at the board and simply opted out of the dog and pony show.
They just walked away from the table.
They refuse to play a game where the rules are rigged against them.
It makes total logical sense. Why willingly walk into a casino where the house takes 90% of your chips before you even sit at the table?
Exactly. Many women interpret a man's mere presence on a dating app as an automatic ironclad promise of a dinner date. They operate under the delusion that goes, he swiped right on me, therefore he is actively applying for the position of my provider, and his very first probationary task is to buy me an expensive meal and treat me like the most fascinating person he has ever met.
But the guys they actually want don't do that.
The men that women actually desire, the top tier of guys who have their lives together, who are physically attractive, who have natural charisma, they do not have to jump through those hoops anymore, and they know it.
They just don't. Let's paint a vivid picture of this guy's reality. Imagine a guy sitting on his couch on a Wednesday night. He has 3 different attractive women in his phone right now, all actively messaging him, all open to meeting up.
A guy with true abundance.
Yeah. Why on earth would he choose to spend $150 and 3 hours of his precious free time at a loud, crowded, overpriced bar with one of them, risking the very real chance that she is just using him for a free meal and a quick ego boost?
Which happens constantly.
Right when he can invite another one over for a glass of wine, put on some good music, have zero financial pressure, and actually see if there's a real physical connection.
From an energetic and economic standpoint, it is a complete no-brainer for the man. The woman in the app scenario is frustrated because she wants a guy to chase her, to invite her out quickly, to plan the logistics, to pay for everything, and to treat her like a visiting celebrity.
She wants the red carpet.
She does. But what she completely fails to realize is that the men she desires most intensely have an abundance of options. They dictate the terms of engagement because they have the leverage.
Which leads to a massive, crushing realization for a lot of people out there. The guys they are most intensely attracted to, the guys they swipe right on without a second of hesitation, do not play by their rules. They do not chase. They do not overinvest early.
No, they don't need to.
And unpacking this brings us to one of the absolute harshest, most uncomfortable truths in the entire sphere of modern dating. Let's talk about the delusion of your type.
Oh, the concept of a type is one of the most destructive fantasies in the dating market.
There's a very hard pill to swallow here, and you're starting to see people wake up to it in real time as they hit their late 20s and early 30s. The phrase that sums it up perfectly is, your type ain't gonna marry you.
It resonates so deeply because it is universally observable.
Let's break down why this happens. Because you will see people spend their entire 20s aggressively chasing a very specific archetype. The guy who is a bit dangerous, completely aloof, highly attractive, notoriously non-committal.
The classic bad boy.
Right. He fits her ideal type for raw, visceral, biological attraction. But those guys, by their very nature, are rarely the ones looking to settle down and build a white picket fence life with her.
Rarely.
Yet the pattern repeats. They will continuously chase these guys, throw themselves into chaotic situations, put up with terrible communication and flaky behavior, all fueled by one underlying hope, which is that she will be the one special enough to change him.
This is where we have to dive deep into the psychological chasm between how men and women view the concept of commitment. It is a fundamental divide in human nature. When a healthy, grounded man finally finds a woman he wants to commit to, his primary desire is for her to stay exactly the same.
He wants the status quo.
He loves her peace, her loyalty, her current demeanor, the way she makes him feel today. His internal monologue is literally, "Please do not change a single thing about who you are."
We crave consistency. We want the person we fell in love with to be the exact same person we wake up to in 10 years.
However, the female approach to commitment often operates on an entirely different axis. People often seek out a specific type of guy, usually the bad boy, the player, the emotionally unavailable drifter, with a deep subconscious craving to change him into husband material.
The ultimate project.
Yes, the fantasy isn't just about having a great, stable guy. The core fantasy is the ego boost of being the woman who is so uniquely special, so magical, that she successfully tamed the untamable beast.
It's the Beauty and the Beast complex. It's the ultimate ego trip. It's like walking into a dealership, buying a high-performance sports car, like a literal two-seater, loud, aggressive Ferrari, and then being furious that it doesn't have the trunk space of a Dodge minivan.
That's brilliant.
You bought the Ferrari specifically for the thrill. You bought it because it's loud, fast, and dangerous. But the absolute second you get it home to your garage, you want to change its entire engineering. You want to bolt a baby seat into the back of a Ferrari and complain when it doesn't fit.
The sports car analogy is brilliant because it highlights the absurdity of the expectation. The sports car fundamentally does not want to be a minivan. And let's explore the power dynamic that shifts the moment she tries to install that baby seat.
Right, what happens next?
When a man, especially a man with abundance and options, realizes a woman is trying to fix him, tame him, or mold him into her ideal project, he instantly pulls away. He smells the hidden agenda.
He feels like a renovation project, not a human being. Nobody wants to be treated like a fixer-upper.
Exactly the opposite of genuine acceptance. And this dynamic is precisely why men should never, ever chase women. A man's primary directive should be to live his life, build his internal and external value, establish his boundaries, and wait for women who recognize and respect his value as he currently is.
Without conditions.
Without feeling the need to mold him into a completely different shape to fit their life plan.
This is such a crucial takeaway for the guys listening. When you actually value yourself, when you set a firm standard and refuse to bend to someone's attempts to change you or make you jump through unnecessary hoops, it completely spins them out.
It does.
They get so confused, it creates a short circuit in their brain.
They get confused because they are simply not used to dealing with men who possess actual immovable boundaries. Most of the men they encounter in their day-to-day lives will fold like a cheap lawn chair the second she hints at disapproval or threatens to pull her attention away.
You see this classic, almost tragic scenario play out everywhere online. Someone goes on social media and loudly proclaims to the world that she has extremely high standards. She brands herself as a high-value woman. She lists out this terrifyingly long list of demands for her future partner.
Yeah, the laundry list again?
But if you actually pull back the curtain and look at her real-world dating history, her track record, it is exclusively filled with emotionally unavailable guys that she actively chased, tolerated poor treatment from, and desperately tried to fix. Her stated type is a guy who fundamentally does not want a stable relationship with her.
She desires the exact thing that rejects her, and she rejects the exact thing that desires her. It is a cycle of self-sabotage.
Make it make sense.
Yeah.
It's wild to observe from the outside. But sometimes, this overwhelming desire to chase that top-tier, aloof type leads people to do completely irrational things. Things that defy all logic, financial sense, and basic personal safety.
Oh, absolutely.
Which brings us to the phenomena of the fly me out trap.
The fly me out dynamic is where the modern dating market reaches its absolute peak of absurdity and transactional behavior.
I mean, we are talking about extreme, almost unbelievable scenarios here. We're seeing a trend where people are literally getting on commercial airplanes, flying across the entire country to places like Miami or Chicago for the sole purpose of meeting a man they have only ever spoken to through direct messages on an app. A total, literal stranger.
It requires an astonishing level of delusion and a complete suspension of risk assessment to believe that a setup like this is going to end in a romantic fairy tale.
Let's detail the actual outcomes of these trips, because they are tragic, but they offer a profound lesson in dating economics. You have one well-documented scenario of a girl who flies down to Miami. She lands, gets off the plane, walks to baggage claim, and the guy is nowhere to be found.
He just vanishes.
She calls him. His phone is going straight to voicemail. She is stranded at a major airport with her luggage. She has no hotel book. She hasn't rented a car.
Yeah.
And she has absolutely no plan B. She just blindly assumed this internet stranger was going to handle every single logistical detail of her life for the weekend.
A brutal reality check. And then you have the Chicago scenario, which is arguably even more telling about the mindset of the men operating in this specific tier of the dating market.
The Chicago story is a masterpiece of modern dating dysfunction. A girl flies all the way to Chicago for a guy she met online. She takes an Uber to his house, fully expecting a fancy date, a 5-star romantic weekend, maybe a boat tour, nice dinners.
She has the whole itinerary in her head.
She walks in, and he just looks at her and says, look, I've taken girls ice skating before. I've taken them shopping downtown. It got me nowhere. We can get to know each other right here in my house watching TV. He literally considered the act of booking her economy flight as the entirety of the date. That was the absolute ceiling of his romantic effort.
It is incredibly brutal to hear, but as coaches, we have to analyze the underlying motivations driving both sides of this transaction. Let's start by looking at the men executing this play.
What's their angle?
These men are typically utilizing platforms like Instagram and Snapchat to project a highly curated, lavish, high-roller lifestyle. Maybe they actually live that life, or maybe they are just faking it till they make it, renting sports cars for photo shoots, buying VIP sections once a month for content. Regardless of the reality, they are using this projected lifestyle as bait.
It's a shiny lure in the water.
It is a lure designed to catch a specific type of attention. And the people who take that bait are exhibiting what is best described as poverty-stricken behavior.
Poverty-stricken behavior, that is a heavy loaded phrase. Define the psychology behind that term for us.
Poverty-stricken behavior in this context means operating from a mindset where you are constantly trying to weasel your way into a free, luxurious experience without having done a single tangible thing to earn access to it.
Right.
They scroll social media, they see the boats, the bottle service, the designer bags, the lifestyle, and their immediate thought is, I want a piece of that for free. They aren't flying across the country because they deeply value the man's soul, his intellect, or his character. They are flying out because they want to use him as a fully funded travel agency for a free vacation and high-end Instagram content.
I hear the critique of the person flying out, but let me push back a bit on the guy's logic here.
Yeah.
Isn't it also kind of crazy, maybe even pathetic, for a guy to drop hundreds of dollars on a flight, fly a girl across the country, just to have her sit on his living room couch and watch Netflix?
Why spend the money?
Right. Why would he even spend the money on the ticket if he has absolutely no intention of taking her out and showing her a good time?
Because to these specific guys, the flight was never about romance. It was simply the calculated cover charge for intimacy. They have run the numbers. They have learned from past experiences.
Like the Chicago guy said.
The guy in the Chicago scenario stated his thesis perfectly. I took girls out. I spent money on expensive dates. It got me nowhere. He realized through trial and error that standard wining and dining in the modern era yields a negative return on investment.
So he just cut out the middleman.
So he optimized his strategy. He spends $300 on a flight. She comes directly to his territory. There is no expensive dinner to pay for, no logistics to navigate, no public performance required. Just straight to the point.
It's a model of ruthless efficiency. He fed her fast food effort because he knew, deep down, that he didn't need to give her a 5-star meal to get what he wanted. By the time she boarded that flight, she had already capitulated to his frame.
Precisely. She surrendered her leverage the moment she accepted the ticket without a backup plan. And this highlights a massive, glaring contrast with how a truly grounded, high-value person operates in the dating world.
This is an incredibly important distinction to make, because we aren't saying this behavior is universal.
Not at all. A person who genuinely respects themselves, someone who operates from a place of high value, would never put themselves in such a vulnerable, dependent position. If a grounded woman wants to meet a man in another city, she will pay for her own flight.
Absolutely.
She will book her own hotel room. She will pay for her own portion of the trip because she fiercely protects her autonomy and does not want to owe a man anything.
She maintains her leverage and her safety.
She wants to genuinely get to know him on equal footing, not use him for a free trip. When someone flies out entirely on another person's dime and expects a fully funded luxury vacation in return for their presence, they're commodifying themselves. And the brutal reality is, the man treats them exactly like a commodity.
The mental image of that girl sitting in a random Chicago apartment, looking around at the walls, realizing she is getting absolutely zero romance or luxury after flying halfway across the country. I mean, it is a harsh, cold wake-up call. But it all comes down to the brutal underlying economics of modern dating, which leads us perfectly into analyzing why so many guys have completely rewritten their relationship budgets and changed the way they invest their resources.
The true economics of modern dating. This is where the philosophical concepts we've discussed actually meet the road of daily life.
There is a rapidly growing perspective among men, and it's gaining a massive amount of traction in private conversations and coaching circles, that having a traditional girlfriend in today's climate costs significantly more, both financially and emotionally, than casually dating multiple different women.
It has shifted from a romantic endeavor to entirely a math equation for a lot of men. They are looking at the ROI of commitment and finding it bankrupt.
And it connects deeply to the profound entitlement we see manifesting in places like the club scene. There is this insane viral story of a woman in a Romanian city that perfectly encapsulates this.
Oh, I know one.
She goes online absolutely furious, ranting into her camera because she was forced to pay a cover charge to get into a nightclub. Her core argument: she claims her mere physical existence in the club is her job.
Unbelievable.
She literally argues, I am in the club attracting the men, and the men are the ones buying the expensive bottles and making money for the club. She genuinely, unironically believes she should be granted free entry and be catered to like a VIP simply because she looks good standing near a table.
That is the absolute pinnacle of modern entitlement. The underlying philosophy is my physical existence is a service to you and you must compensate me for it.
Pay me a tax just to exist in your general vicinity. It's mind-boggling.
To understand why this happens, we have to draw a hard, definitive line here between a male and a man.
Wow.
This is a crucial distinction in our coaching. An average male operates from a place of intense, suffocating scarcity. He does not get a lot of attention. He doesn't have a deep roster. So when he finally gets a date or gets a girl to talk to him at the club, he is desperate to lock down his dream girl. He is thirsty for validation.
He'll do anything.
And because he operates from that scarcity, he will happily open his wallet and drain his bank account for a woman who hasn't proven a single positive character trait to him. He will gladly pay the cover charge, buy the VIP table, and buy the $20 drinks for the entitled girl ranting about her existence being a service.
He thinks he's being a gentleman, thinks he's playing the game correctly, but he's actually just being a mark. He's a walking ATM.
He is subsidizing her ego at the expense of his own dignity. A grounded, highly sexually appealing man operates from an entirely different paradigm. He realizes he lives in abundance. He knows, based on his experience and his value, that he can have multiple connections without the massive financial drain of a partner who expects to be treated like a VIP simply for breathing. He flatly refuses to pay a tax on his own dating life.
Let me clarify this point for the guys listening, because I want to make sure we aren't sending a distorted message here. We aren't telling guys they should be cheap, stingy, or refuse to treat their partners well.
No, not at all.
We aren't advocating for pulling out a calculator to split a $4 coffee on a date.
Absolutely not. There's never a problem with a man going above and beyond to provide for and spoil his woman. A grounded man inherently wants to be generous with his resources. But, and this is the most important caveat in the world, that extreme generosity is strictly reserved for a woman who has actually earned it.
Exactly.
It is reserved for a partner who has helped him build his life. A partner who has stood by him when the chips were down. A partner who actively contributes to his peace and his daily life in ways that other people simply cannot match.
It's the difference between an investment and an expense. A supportive, loyal partner is an investment in your shared future. A stranger at a club demanding you buy her a drink just for the privilege of hearing her talk is a depreciating expense.
That is exactly the framework. So let's extrapolate this logic to the broader dating market right now. What do men actually tangibly get out of chasing women in this current hyper-entitled environment?
If they blindly follow the old legacy rules of chasing, absolutely nothing positive. They get drained financially, exhausted emotionally, and ultimately labeled a creep for trying too hard.
The guys who truly understand the mechanics of attraction, who understand the brutal economics of modern dating, they simply opt out of the chase entirely. They redirect all that energy into focusing on their own purpose, building their own lives, and they let the connections come to them organically. They avoid being put through the financial and emotional meat grinder.
Think about the stark contrast between these two paths. On one hand, you have the average, scarcity-driven guy dropping hundreds of dollars on club cover charges, bottle service, and extravagant dinners, all in a desperate attempt to impress entitled people who will forget his name by the time they wake up tomorrow.
A completely rigged game.
And then on the other hand, you have the grounded man. He dates casually, he dates economically, he invites someone over to cook a homemade dinner together, or goes for a walk in the park with a coffee. He uses those low-stakes environments to test her character, her conversation skills, and her genuine interest, rather than testing her appetite for luxury.
He's screening her.
Right. And he waits patiently until he meets someone who actually brings tangible value and peace to his life before he ever truly opens his wallet to provide.
One guy is playing a rigged game he mathematically cannot win. The other guy realized the game was rigged, stepped off the board, and designed his own game.
That is the ultimate takeaway for anyone trying to navigate this landscape. Let's synthesize this journey we've been on today. We started by unpacking the princess financial delusions, the mindset of demanding 50% equity in a man's life on the very first date.
Which is just wild.
We explore the approach paradox, where doing exactly what is asked of you makes you look needy, and the absolute necessity of having a grounded, unbothered framework to navigate social interactions.
We covered a lot.
Yeah. We uncovered the harsh realities behind the dating app marination strategy, showing why top-tier guys have opted out of expensive dinner dates entirely. We talked about the hard truth that your type is rarely the person who is actually going to build a life with you, and we broke down the sheer transactional insanity of the fly-me-out traps.
It all paints a very clear, undeniable picture of a dating market that is fundamentally broken if you try to play by the legacy rules written decades ago. The old map leads off a cliff.
Which brings us to the final thought I want to leave you, the listener, with today. The one concept I want you to really mull over as you go about your week and interact with the dating world.
If the modern dating market is built almost entirely on the expectation that you have to purchase someone's attention before you even know a single thing about their character.
What happens to your life when you finally decide to take your wallet and your need for validation completely off the table?
That is the real question.
That is the ultimate pattern interrupt. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop bribing people for their affection, you force them to show you exactly who they really are. And you might just realize that the prize you thought you were running so hard to catch wasn't actually worth the chase in the first place. Stay grounded, gentlemen. We will catch you on the next deep dive.